Howdy guys, it's Joe here today talking about why I hate Winston. And again, like all my why I hate videos, I don't hate the entire character, I just hate certain parts of his kits, or maybe certain parts of how he fits into the meta, so do keep that in mind before I get started, just before you get into the comment section and get a little bit angry. Anyways, let's just get straight on to Winston. Now, I feel like overall Winston has been a character that I feel like I can't roast like too hard, because he's been bad for such a long amount of time. Of course, he does drop in and drop out of some metas, and he's very, very good right now. But if you kind of think about the amount of time that he's been bad compared to the amount of time that he's been good, there's a lot more bad than good. With that said though, right now he is an extremely strong pick, and is completely mauling the majority of the tanks out of the meta right now. Maybe not completely, but pretty darn well. The thing that Winston can pull out right now is something that no other tank can, and that's a 3 DPS dive comp, 3 DPS, 1 tank, and 2 supports. Now, I will say some people do really like this comp. Some people like the offensiveness, some people like the burst, some people like the explosiveness of this comp, some people like to watch it, and while I feel like it can be cool, especially when you see this in esports for the first few times, after you see it for like the 10th and the 11th and the 12th and so on and so on and so on time, it starts to become kind of annoying to actually deal with. As far as what it is right now, how to counter this comp is to go triple DPS yourself, or to just get a really nice, weird, janky defensive comp that you hope that they just can't burst through fast enough. Now, of course, this doesn't always apply in every single ranked game. A lot of people can't really play dive comp way too well, and it kind of bogs down. But as far as what Winston is as far as power right now, even if you just go Winston Diva, 2 damage, and then 2 supports, it's pretty easy to get a pretty nice dive comp that doesn't take way too much effort and way too much skill to use, and you can just bound in there and still deal a ton of damage. I feel like overall dive comp has in general been a very hard comp to use in the past, but with Winston's strength that he's at right now, it's kind of made it into a lot easier of a strategy that we're seeing a lot more often. And while I do like dive comp sometimes, seeing it for the majority of my games, I don't know. Personally, I don't personally prefer it. Maybe you guys really like that, but personally I feel like I like the somewhat slower, somewhat grindier game, which then someone gets a nice engage and we finally get in there and get some cool picks and finish off the point, instead of just where you always just bum rush the point every single time. And that's just kind of a thing that Winston does, and a thing that I feel like he kind of has to do, is that is what generally he is. Now, another thing that I really much dislike about Winston is, of course, his zap cannon, and how annoying it is to deal with as a support. Now, of course, if you are the Winston player and the supports are healing each other, you can't really actually do way too much. But if the supports are being dumb, like most of my friends are doing, then you're off in the boonies, you're being zapped by Winston, and there's not much you can do. A really cool thing about Winston is, of course, that he can block a ton of healing with his shield. He can simply jump onto the supports, and other than killing them, which he can't always do, he can at least block their healing. And if you can block 2 healers healing, your team should probably win. Now, of course, that does not always happen. A lot of times teams mess up, and a lot of times the Winston's team is still going to lose that team fight. But in general, they should be doing quite well. And if they have that 3 DPS comp, they can kind of just maul straight through people with so much damage that's going on right now. Another thing that's really nice about Winston that's kind of annoying to deal with when you're playing especially Soldier is him being able to block your ultimate. This works with quite a few characters, but I feel like Soldier in particular is the character that is most annoying to fight against Winston as if you are the Soldier player, you press the ult button, and Winston has his ult, he just jumps in your face, you can't really do way too much. As well, this does kind of apply to Diva, but I feel like Winston just shoving you all over the place and really not letting you do anything is especially annoying. Now, of course, Winston does have some counters. He has Reaper, which sucks right now, let's be real. We have Roadhog, who's going to be nerfed, and I can't really tell if that's going to be better or worse. And then we have, like, Soldier, kind of, and McCree, kind of. We have some characters that can do decently versus him, but overall, I feel like he's a very good pick right now, and someone that can just bounce on you, deal a lot of damage, and stop much damage from being healed to the rest of your team. He's not really way too difficult to use, I'm going to say, but one thing that is annoying about playing Winston and being the Winston player is that he is very, very team-based. And this is the thing that I like about characters like Reinhardt and like Winston, but it is also very annoying. If you are the Winston player, a thing that I hate about playing Winston is that sometimes you just jump in, you get a perfect engage, and nobody follows up. For one reason or another, maybe they're off chasing somebody or whatever, you jump in there, you get both the supports, and maybe somebody else by yourself, your team should have won that team fight, and then you just lose. And I feel like that happens so often when you're playing Winston. People just don't really pay attention, and even if you're talking in voice chat, a lot of the times, people just don't really do much. And if you are especially not talking in voice chat, and maybe you have a Winston player on your team that just keeps jumping in by himself, and you're the one not helping him out, it can be kind of frustrating for the both of you. You're probably wondering, what the heck is this guy doing? He keeps killing himself, while he's wondering, my team is so dumb, no one's coming in with me. what the heck is my team doing? And overall, it becomes kind of a problem. I feel like in general, Winston just does bring some really kind of awkward mechanics to Overwatch, mainly the dive comp and really awkward engagements that do work really greatly when they actually work, but in solo queue, he's a character that is very broken, but also very weird to play, and very, very team-oriented, and if your team's kind of dumb, it kind of sucks to play him at times. While if your team's doing well, you can just get a huge amount of win rate on this guy and just climb really, really fast. But anyways, at least that's my own opinion about this character, that being Winston. I think overall he's a pretty fun character, and he hasn't really been way too great for that long, so I haven't had really long enough to become much against him. As well, if the opponents aren't playing a nice dive comp, or I guess a good enough dive comp, Winston isn't way too overpowered. You know, people aren't playing the comp way too well. You know, that kind of applies to everything. But Reinhardt can still stand his own. While if they are playing a really, really good comp, it can be kind of hard for Reinhardt or any other tank to really do anything. There's no one else that can really quite do or quite deal with Winston as it is right now. But at least that is, of course, again, my own opinion and my own experience. As always, though, guys, this is, again, just what I thought. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below what you personally feel about Winston. Do you like the character, or do you hate this guy? And tell me what reasons you have for that. As always, guys, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and have a wonderful day.